The story of the film Joker begins in a city where there is a deep divide between the rich and the poor. On one hand, the wealthy lead a luxurious life, while on the other, the poor class struggles day and night. The rich have no value for the poor in their eyes. In fact, they are often considered contemptible. In this environment lives a man named Arthur. He lives with his mother in a small house. Since childhood, Arthur had a great interest in humor and stand-up comedy. His dream was to one day become a famous comedian, whom the whole city would know. Arthur's idol was a big TV show host who made people laugh on comedy shows. Arthur tried to improve himself every day so that one day he would also get a chance to stand on that stage. His aspiration was to be invited to his idol's show and to show the whole world his talent. The story then shows Arthur standing on the street with a company board. Just then, some boys arrive there and start bothering him. They snatch his board and run away. Arthur chases after them, but the boys stop him and beat him up. They also break the board and severely beat Arthur. Upset Arthur goes to his boss and tells him everything. The boss, in turn, gets angry at Arthur. He says, "It's your fault. How did the kids run away like that? Your salary will be cut." Arthur remains silent. He cannot say anything. His self-confidence is very weak. He goes out feeling sad. He thinks, "Am I so useless?" Returning home, he starts dancing alone. His vulnerability is clearly visible. The next day, Arthur tells a coworker everything. The coworker says, "You need to learn to handle yourself." A colleague of Arthur's secretly gives him a pistol. He says, "Keep this with you. It might be useful." Arthur initially refuses, but the colleague forces it upon him. A little later, Arthur is sitting on a bus returning home. A small child is sitting in front of him, watching him intently. Arthur tries to make him laugh. The child starts laughing, but the child's mother doesn't like it. She angrily tells Arthur, "Don't bother us." Arthur says nothing and just keeps laughing. Actually, he has a mental illness that causes him to laugh even in such situations. Arthur cannot control his laughter. He suddenly bursts into laughter anywhere. He gives the woman on the bus a card that describes his mental condition. Returning home, he takes medicine. These medicines are actually provided to him free of charge from a government clinic because his financial situation is very poor. One day, he goes to meet his psychologist. She asks him, "What do you write in your diary?" When she opens the diary, she reads a line that reflects Arthur's broken thought process. Arthur is so frustrated with his life that he says, "I don't want my death to be as meaningless as my life." After this, he returns home, where his mother asks him, "Has any letter come from Thomas?" Arthur calmly says, "Never." Thomas is a powerful and rich man whom even common people fear. The mother hopes that Thomas will help them. The next day, Arthur meets a woman and her young daughter on the street. She is a single mother. Arthur starts to feel a connection with the two of them. However, he quietly returns home. Arthur's mother again talks about Thomas. Arthur tiredly says, "He won't help us. Why are you after him?" The next day, the single woman comes to Arthur's house. She laughs and says, "I've noticed you often follow me." Arthur hesitantly admits, "Yes, I like you." The girl laughs. A conversation starts between the two. A few days later, Arthur gets a chance to do comedy at a children's hospital. He dances on stage in colorful clothes. Just then, while doing comedy, Arthur's gun suddenly falls onto the floor from his pocket. The children get scared. The hospital staff are surprised. The question arises in everyone's mind, why did Arthur have a gun? This news soon spreads, and he is fired from his job. Arthur calls his boss to clarify. He says, "It was just a toy gun," but the boss angrily says, "Don't lie. Your colleague told me everything that you took the gun from him." Arthur becomes sad because he remembers that he didn't take the gun by force. Next, he is shown returning home alone on a train. There were 3 rich businessmen on the train who were connected to Thomas. They were harassing a girl. Arthur suddenly bursts into laughter because of his illness. All 3 think he is making fun of them. Angrily, they start hitting Arthur. Arthur tries to explain, but no one listens. Finally, he takes out the gun from his pocket and shoots all 3 of them. After their death, Arthur runs away in fear and hides in a toilet. There, he looks at himself in the mirror. Along with the panic, an odd piece is also visible on his face. Instead of staying quiet in the toilet, Arthur starts dancing. It's as if he has no remorse for his action. There was a strange piece on his face. Meanwhile, news is running on TV that he has returned home. Thomas issues a statement. The 3 dead men were his employees, and a joker killed them. But the poor people of the city, instead of mourning the incident, come out onto the streets to support that joker. They start raising their voices against the rich. The joker has now become a symbol for them. Arthur again goes to meet his therapist, who says, "This is our last meeting." The therapist informs him that the government has stopped funding. She can no longer continue the treatment. Arthur quietly leaves from there. Sometime later, he comes to a comedy show stage. He tries to make people laugh, but fails. In panic, he starts laughing loudly himself, which makes him the object of ridicule. He returns home, disheartened. His mother is happy to see him. Just then, Arthur finds an old letter written to Thomas. He is shocked after reading it and questions his mother. "Why did you hide this from me?" The mother cries and says, "Son, I didn't hide anything from you. I had a relationship with Thomas. We wanted to marry each other, but I was poor, and he was rich, so it was not possible." Hearing this, Arthur sets out to meet Thomas. Reaching Thomas's house, Arthur sees his son outside the gate. He starts acting like a child and tries to make him laugh. Just then, the house servant comes there and asks Arthur what he is doing there. The servant tells Arthur, strangers shouldn't talk to children. Then he tells him to leave from there. Arthur stops and says, "I won't go without knowing the truth. My mother worked at Thomas's house for many years. They both liked each other. I am his son." The servant then mocks him. "Your mother and you are both mentally ill. This is all your delusion." Hearing this, Arthur gets upset and leaves from there. On the way home, he learns that his mother has had a heart attack. Arthur's mother is immediately admitted to the hospital. 2 police officers come to meet Arthur outside. They ask, "Do you know anything about the 3 men who died on the train?" Arthur tries to pretend he doesn't know. "I don't know. How would I know?" He remembered that the police had asked the same question to his mother, which had worsened her condition. Arthur goes inside to his mother. The single woman he had befriended was also there. Just then, his favorite show starts on TV, featuring his favorite comedian. Arthur becomes engrossed watching him. Suddenly, Arthur sees his own face on TV. In fact, his favorite comedian was making fun of him. Arthur feels very bad that the person he considered his idol was putting him down. He cannot believe that the whole city is laughing at his mistake. By then, Thomas was returning to his home. News was running on TV that the situation in the city was getting worse. The poor people have come out onto the streets dressed as the Joker and are raising their voices against the rich. The atmosphere was gradually going out of control. Tensions were rising between the rich and the poor in the city. The hatred against Thomas had become public. Arthur was secretly happy seeing this because everyone was out on the streets in Joker makeup. For the first time, he felt that his identity was being noticed by people. The city's famous theater had become the center of the rebellion, where the rich were watching a movie. Thomas was also present at that theater. Outside, the police were trying to control the situation. Taking advantage of the environment, Arthur quietly enters the theater. Arthur confronts Thomas in the theater's washroom. He slowly says, "I am your son. Mother told me everything." Thomas angrily denies it. "I don't know any such woman." Then he gives Arthur a hard slap, which causes his nose to bleed. Arthur quietly returns home. After a while, he receives a phone call from the police. They question him about the incident on the day the 3 people were killed on the train. Arthur learns that his favorite comedy show wants to invite him. The clip of him being made fun of is now a subject of discussion everywhere, which has also increased the show's popularity. Arthur is very happy to hear this and prepares to go there. Just then, he remembers that Thomas's servant had called his mother mentally ill. To know the truth, he goes to the hospital where his mother was once treated. Upon reaching there, he tries to get hold of their old files. Arthur quietly steals his mother's file from the hospital. Reading the record, he learns that his mother had an abusive relationship with a man who physically and mentally tortured her. It was during this time that Arthur suffered a head injury, which caused his condition to worsen. Knowing all this, he becomes distressed and reaches the house of the woman he considered his friend. But upon arriving there, he realizes that the woman was never in his life. It was all part of his thoughts and imagination. Arthur was broken from the inside. While taking her to the hospital, Arthur strangles his mother in a fit of rage. Returning home, he finds an old photo with the inscription on the back. "Your smile is very sweet." It was in Thomas's handwriting. and the picture was of his mother. It was then that Arthur felt that his mother might have been telling the truth. With a broken heart, he starts applying the Joker makeup. Just then, his coworker arrives there. He tells Arthur, "I want to talk about your mother's death and the murders that happened on the train." Arthur thinks his coworker has come to frame him. In anger, he kills him. After this, he prepares himself. He puts on the Joker makeup and costume. He leaves to go to his favorite comedy show. He dances with joy on the street. Just then, two police officers who were investigating the train incident arrive to stop him. Arthur runs away and gets onto a crowded train. There were many people dressed as the Joker on the train. The police cannot find him in such a crowd. Seizing the opportunity, Arthur leaves from there and goes straight to his favorite comedy show. After meeting the show's host, he laughs and says, "Are you also against the rich, that you have adopted this look?" Then he quietly says, "Don't tell people that I'm just an ordinary Joker." Just then, the live broadcast of the show begins. The audience is happy to see Arthur and welcomes him with applause. The host laughs and asks him, "Why did you come here wearing this Joker makeup?" The Joker laughs and says, "I always wanted to be happy, so I wear this makeup. People like this identity of mine." Then he brings a shocking truth before everyone. On the live show, he confesses, "I took the lives of those who died on the train." He further adds, "The poor are suppressed every day. The rich do whatever they want, and no one says anything. But when someone weak fights back, everyone has a problem. Is this justice?" The entire studio falls silent. The Joker says, "If the poor die, no one cares. But when the rich are attacked, everyone is shocked. Is justice only for the rich? Are we all not equal?" He calls society hollow and selfish. Then he tells the host, "You called me here because the discussion about your show is increasing because of me. This is not sympathy." But the host denies it. "That's not it. You're misunderstanding." Arthur angrily says, "You are still fooling me." In a fit of rage, he fires a gun in the middle of the live show. People start running away in fear, but Arthur remains completely confident. Soon, the police catch him and take him away in a car. On the road, Arthur sees that the crowd is supporting him. Some people with an ambulance hit the police car. The car flips over, and Arthur becomes free. The police car overturns in the accident, and Arthur gets out. He climbs onto the car and looks around. The crowd surrounds him and welcomes him with applause. Blood was dripping from his face, but he paints a smile with that blood. His smile hid pain, but people saw him as a hero. For the first time, Arthur feels like he belongs. Just then, Thomas is seen on the other side. Thomas was preparing to leave the city with his wife and son. Suddenly, a Joker, hiding in the crowd, shoots them. Except for the son, the other to die. The scene changes. Arthur is sitting in front of a psychiatrist. He is laughing without reason. The doctor asks, "Why do you keep laughing like that?" Arthur laughs and says, "You will never understand it." As he walks out, bloodstains are visible on his shoes, which tell the story of his shattered innocence. The whole story implies that when a person is repeatedly hurt and insulted, they also rebel one day. The one who was once innocent and weak becomes dangerous with time. The same thing happened to Arthur. Instead of understanding his pain, people ignored him, and when he broke down, it was no use caring for him. In the end, he answered the world in his own style. This is the real message of this film. So friends, you can tell us how you liked today's story in the comments. If you liked the story, please subscribe and stay with us. Thank you.